Pilgrim's Progress, Chapter 8. So I saw in my dream that soon after they had left the fair, they overtook a man walking ahead of them whose name was By-ends. So they said to him, "What country are you from, sir, and how far are you going on this way?" He told them that he came from the town of Fair Speech, and that he was going to the celestial city, but he did not tell them his name. "From Fair Speech?" exclaimed Christian. "Does anything good live there?" "Yes, I hope so," said By-ends. "Please, sir, what is your name?" inquired Christian. By-ends answered, "I am a stranger to you, and you to me. But if you are going this way, I shall be glad of your company. If not, I must be content to walk alone." "I have heard of this town of Fair Speech," said Christian, "and as I remember, they say it is a wealthy place." By-ends agreed. "Yes, I will assure you that it is, and I have many rich relatives who live there." "May I be so bold as to ask who some of your relatives are who live there?" Christian asked. By-ends reported, "Almost the whole town is related to me, and in particular Lord Turnabout, Lord Timeserver, and Lord Fairspeech, from whose ancestors that town first took its name. Other relatives include Mr. Smoothman, Mr. Facing Both Ways, and Mr. Anything. The parson of our parish, Mr. Two Tongues, is my uncle on my mother's side, and to tell you the truth, I have become a gentleman of good quality, even though my great-grandfather was only a ferryman, looking one way and rowing another. I earned most of my wealth by the same occupation." Christian asked, "Are you a married man?" By-ends replied, "Yes, and my wife is a very virtuous woman, the daughter of a virtuous woman. She was my Lady Faining's daughter. She comes from a very honorable family, and has arrived to such a pinnacle of breeding that she knows how to act cordially and respectably to all, princes and peasants alike. It is true that we differ in religion from those of the stricter sort, but only in two small points. First, we never strive against the wind and tide. Secondly, we are always most zealous when religion goes about in his silver slippers. We love to walk with him in the street if the sun is shining and the people are applauding him." Then Christian stepped aside to his friend Hopeful and said, "I believe this is the person they call By-ends of Fair Speech. If it is he, then we have in our company one of the most deceitful rogues who ever lived in this part of the country." Then Hopeful said, "Ask him. I do not think he should be ashamed of his name." So Christian came up to him again and said, "Sir, you talk as if you knew more than most people in the world, and if I am not mistaken, I would guess that your name is Mr. By-ends of Fair Speech." By-ends protested, "That is not my name, but it is an insulting nickname that has been given to me by those who do not care for me. I must be content to bear it as a reproach, as other good men have borne theirs before me." "But haven't you given occasion for men to call you by this name?" Christian pressed. "Never, never," By-ends protested. "The worst thing I ever did to invite such a name was to have the good luck to jump in and ride the tide of the times, profiting thereby from my skill at knowing which way the winds of change were blowing. If this is my crime, then I will count it as a blessing, but I will not let the malicious load me up with reproach." Christian responded, "Just as I thought. You are the man whom I have heard, and to tell you the truth, I fear your nickname belongs to you more properly than you would think us to like." By-ends countered, "Well, if this is what you think, I cannot help it. Even so, you will find me to be good company if you will still allow me to travel with you." Christian replied, "If you will go with us, you must go against wind and tide, which I believe is against your principles. You must also stand by religion in his rags, as well as when he is in his silver slippers. You must stand by him when he was bound in irons, as well as when he walks the streets and hears applause. You must not impose your faith on me. Let me have my views, and let me go with you," By-ends implored. Christian insisted, "Not a step further unless you will do as I have just proposed, even as we do." Then By-ends said, "I will never desert my old principles, since they are harmless and profitable. If I may not go with you, then I must do what I did before you caught up to me, which is to go by myself until someone overtakes me, who will be glad for my company." Now I saw in my dream that Christian and Hopeful forsook him and kept a good distance ahead of him. After a while, Christian looked back and saw three men following Mr. By-ends. As they came up to him, he greeted them with a low bow, and they gave him a compliment. The men's names were Mr. Hold the World, Mr. Moneylove, and Mr. Save All. These were men with whom Mr. By-ends had formerly been acquainted, for in their youth they were schoolfellows and were taught by one Mr. Gripe Man. They had gone to school in Lovegain, which is a market town in the county of Coveting to the north. This schoolmaster taught them the art of getting, either by violence, fraud, flattery, lying, or putting on a guise of religion. And these 4 gentlemen had become so proficient in the art of their master that now each of them had his own school. When they had all greeted each other, Mr. Moneylove said to Mr. Buy-ins, "Who are they upon the road ahead of us?" For Christian and Hopeful were still within view. Buy-ins responded, "They are a pair from a far-off country going on pilgrimage in their own way." Moneylove asked, "Why didn't they stay with you, so that we might have their good company?" "For they and we, sir, are all going on a pilgrimage." "So we are," Buy-in said. "But the men before us are rigid and in love with their own notions. They disdain the opinions of others, with a superior attitude that is so narrow that if you don't agree with them in all things, they throw you out of their company." Save-All commented, "That is bad. I have read about those who become overzealous in righteousness, judging and condemning everyone but themselves. But tell me, what were the points on which you disagreed?" Buy-ins answered, "Why, they concluded that it is their duty to rush ahead on their journey in all weather, without waiting for favorable wind or tide. They would risk all in a moment for God, while I, on the other hand, am for taking advantage of all moments to secure my life and my estate. They are for holding their notions, though all other men are against them. But I am for religion so far as the times and my safety will bear it. They are for religion when in rags and contempt, but I am for religion when he walks in his golden slippers in the sunshine and with applause." Hold the World agreed. "Yes, good, Mr. Buy-ins. For my part, I count them fools, who lose the things that they are at liberty to keep. Let us be wise as serpents. It is best to make hay when the sun shines. You see how the bee lies still all winter and gets busy only when she can have profit along with pleasure. God sometimes sends rain and sometimes sunshine. If they are so foolish to go through the first, let us be content to take fair weather along with us. For my part, I like that religion best that will stand with the security of God's good blessings to us. Since God has given us the good things of this life, isn't it reasonable to think that he desires that we keep them for his sake? Abraham and Solomon grew rich in religion, and Job says that a good man shall lay up gold as dust. So he must not have in mind the men who are before us, if they are as you have described them. I think that we are all agreed in this matter, and therefore there is no need for any more discussion about it," stated Save-All. "You are right," Moneylove said. "There is nothing more to say about this matter. Anyone who does not believe Scripture or reason, and you see we have both on our side, does not know the liberties that he has to seek his own safety and security." Buy-ins added, "My friends, we are all on the same pilgrimage. To help pass the time, I would like to propose a question to you. Suppose a man, a minister or a tradesman or such, should have an opportunity to get a blessing and improve his station in life by becoming extremely zealous in some point of religion. Let's suppose that this religious point is something about which he has no particular interest, but by appearing to be interested, he can gain an advantage, either financial or otherwise. The question I put to you is this: can he pretend to be interested and remain an upstanding, honest man?" Moneylove noted, "I see what your question is getting at, and with these gentlemen's permission, I will endeavor to give you an answer. First, I will speak to your question as it concerns a minister. Suppose a minister, a worthy man, but someone with a very small income, has a desire to increase in wealth and influence. Suppose that he sees an opportunity for achieving this goal by becoming more studious, preaching more frequently and zealously, and modifying some of his principles to fit in with the preferences and temperament of his congregation. I see no reason why he cannot do this, and a lot more if needed, while still remaining an honest man. And here are the reasons why. Number 1. His desire of a greater income is lawful. This cannot be contradicted, since it is set before him by providence. He should take advantage of the opportunity without questioning his conscience. Number 2. Besides, his desire for more income makes him more studious, more zealous in preaching, and so on. And this makes him a better man. Yes, it makes him a better man in all aspects of his life, which also is according to the will of God. Number 3. Now, as far as for modifying his views and principles to make himself more acceptable to his people, this says 3 good things about the man. It shows that he is of a self-denying temperament, of a sweet and winning disposition, and thus more fit for ministerial duties. Number 4. I conclude then that a minister who exchanges a small thing for a great should not be judged as covetous for doing so. Rather, since his decision results in self-improvement and industry, he should be commended as one who pursues his call, and the opportunity should be seen as something that will help him to do good. And now to the second part of the question, which concerns the tradesman you mentioned. Suppose this man is in a trade that makes him very little money, but by becoming religious, he can improve his income, perhaps get a rich wife, and get better customers to come to his shop. For my part, I see no reason why this may not be lawfully done, and for these reasons. Number 1, to become religious is a virtue, by whatever means it happens. Number 2, it is not unlawful to marry a rich wife or to encourage a better class of customer to do business in his shop. Number 3, besides, the man who gets these by becoming religious gets something that is good from those who are good, by becoming good himself. He gets a good wife, good customers, and a good income, and all by becoming religious, which is good. Therefore, to become religious to get all these is a good and profitable plan. Mr. Moneylove's answer to Mr. Buy-in's question was highly applauded by them all. They all concluded that it was such a wholesome and advantageous answer that no one will be able to contradict it. And since Christian and Hopeful were still within calling distance, they all agreed to pose these questions and answers to them, since they thought that both of them had been rude in their opposition to Mr. Buy-in's. So they called after Christian and Hopeful, who stopped and waited for them to approach. As the three men drew near, they decided that Mr. Hold the World, and not Mr. Buy-in's, should propose the question to Christian and Hopeful to avoid any prejudice that might remain between Mr. Buy-in's and them. So they came up to each other, and after a short salutation, Mr. Hold the World proposed the question to Christian and Hopeful and asked them to answer if they could. Then said Christian, "Even a babe in religion could answer 10,000 such questions. For if it is unlawful to follow Christ for loaves, as it says in John 6, how much more abominable is it to make him and religion into a self-serving device for getting and enjoying the world? Only heathens, hypocrites, devils, and witches are of your opinion." The heathens, Hamor and Shechem, coveted the daughters and cattle of Jacob, and when they saw that there was no way to get them but by becoming circumcised, they said to their companions, "If every male of us be circumcised as they are circumcised, will not their cattle and their property and every beast of theirs be ours?" Jacob's daughters and cattle were what the heathen wanted, and they used Jacob's religion as a guise to try to get it. Read the whole story. The hypocritical Pharisees were also of this religion. Long prayers were their pretense, but their intent was to gain the houses and property of widows, and their judgment was greater damnation from God. Judas the devil was also of this religion, and he would rather have had the possession of the money bag than Christ. He was lost, cast away, and the very son of perdition. Simon the witch was of this religion also. He wanted the Holy Ghost for the purpose of his own personal financial gain, and you can read in Acts the response of the Apostle Peter to his religion. It also occurs to me that the man who takes up religion for the world will just as easily throw away religion for the world. For just as Judas desired the world in becoming religious, so did he also sell religion and his master for the same. To answer the question as you have done and to accept your answer as authentic is heathenish, hypocritical, and devilish. You will be rewarded according to your works. Then they stood staring at one another, unable to answer Christian. Hopeful also approved the soundness of Christian's answer, so there was great silence among them. So Christian and Hopeful continued their journey, but Mr. Buy-in's and his company stayed behind, stunned by Christian's rebuke. Then Christian said to Hopeful, "If these men cannot stand before the sentence of men, what will they do before the sentence of God? And if they are mute when dealt with by vessels of clay, what will they do when they shall be rebuked by the flames of devouring fire?" This has been Chapter 8 of Pilgrim's Progress.